saying this, a Republican chairman of a committee, the Intelligence Committee of the Senate, is actually standing up to Trump, saying, we got a problem here, we got to talk to your son.
This is not a partisan exercise. This is a Republican committee chair in the Senate asking or issuing a subpoena to Don Trump Jr. to come in and explain himself. There's clear contradictions in testimony about very important meeting in the summer of 2016 at Trump Tower in New York City. And he's doing his duty. He's doing his job. He's doing the job of trying to pursue more evidence, more information, and his counterintelligence mission as well.
Well, this is amazing. Malcolm, I want to tell you, I'll get to you and everybody on this one. He's asking the son to come in to testify against the old man. Right. Because he says if he says that the old man knew about that meeting to meet with Vasilnitskaya, the Russian representative of the Kremlin, up in the tower in June of 2016, and the old man said, I didn't know about it, well, he said my father's a liar, and he's part of this conspiracy.
And that's right. And that's the question that I think Burr wants to discuss is, in the counterintelligence component of the Mueller report, we haven't seen any of that. We don't know about the methodologies the Russians were using. And that might be what he's trying to suss out here. Did the Russians use these techniques to get to Donald Trump, and did Donald Trump actually finally, add that missing part of the game?
This is your line of country. The counterintelligence part of this, the fact the Russians were up to something. Yeah. Our side, Americans, through the hands of the Trump people, played ball with them.
That's exactly right, and we got to keep sight of what the big picture is here, because the Trump people keep saying over and over again, we got nothing out of this meeting. That's not the issue. The issue is they were told that the Russians wanted to help the Trump campaign, and what did they say? Donald Trump Jr. famously, I love it. This meeting was a signal, intentional or not, from the Trump campaign to the Russians. If you intervene in this election, we don't mind. So if Donald Trump Sr. knows about this, it implicates him in basically giving a green light to the Russians to do what you're going to do. This meeting happened a week before the Russians started leaking information they had stolen from the Democrats. A week before. It felt pretty good that they could get away with that.
How important is this, Joe, to get to the truth about the testimony of Donald Jr. about that meeting? I mean, his father's knowledge beforehand?
It's crucially important, but I think we also have to keep in mind here is that it's also illegal to lie to Congress. And this isn't the only example where there are inconsistencies between Don Jr.'s testimony and what was said in the Mueller report and testimony given in front of Senate committees. Not just this Trump Tower meeting, but also the extent to which Don Jr. discussed the Moscow Trump Tower project in Moscow. Michael Cohen telling committees that, in fact, they talked about it much more frequently than Don Jr. admitted when he was speaking to the House committee.
Well, by standing firmly behind his subpoena, the president's son, Senator Burr of North Carolina, is defending Congress's right to fulfill its oversight responsibilities. The Washington Post reports that as negotiations over Trump Jr.'s testimony dragged on, Burr became increasingly frustrated and believed that Trump Jr. was defying the committee's authority. Trump allies are now directing their attacks at Burr, of course, saying that a Republican shouldn't cross the president's family. What's this, the Romanovs again? A person close to Trump Jr. tells NBC News, catch this talk, for gangster talk, no lawyer would ever agree to allow their client to participate in what is obviously a PR stunt from a so-called Republican senator, too cowardly to stand up to his boss, Mark Warner, and his boss is Mark Warner, and the rest of the resistance Democrats. These guys sound like thugs, like characters out of a mobster movie. Several Republican lawmakers have also filed suit in questioning Burr's subpoena, including House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Congressman, this gets to the thing I've wondered about. Well, I'm skeptical. Republican senators, Republican members of your House, are in fact elected officials of the first branch of government, the Congress. Why don't they stand up for the prerogatives and responsibilities of Congress to get to the truth with their oversight role? Why don't they have the integrity? Forget who's politically. They are on the side of the Congress when it comes to the Constitution, and they don't stand up. And finally, Burr does this, and they treat him like he's to be shunned in some religious community. He should be shunned because he did this.
That's exactly right, Chris. I have to say that there's one other instance where actually another Republican has actually called for more information, and that is actually Devin Nunes. Nunes and Schiff, the Chairman Schiff on my committee, together have asked for the counterintelligence findings from the Department of Justice because we are statutorily obligated to receive that information. So hopefully there are more Republicans like Mr. Nunes and Senator Burr who actually want us to perform our constitutional duty of oversight. At the end of the day, this is not partisan. This is about whether the president is accountable to anybody. And in this situation, I think Senator Burr is absolutely right. He needs to get to the bottom of what exactly happened with regard to the conversation between Trump Jr. and his father. One issue with regard to counterintelligence I just want to point out, which is if it is a lie, what Don Jr. has been saying with regard to the conversation with his father, and the Russians know that, that in itself is called compromat. That is information that could be used against Don Jr., who, by the way, is the head of the Trump organization, to get to his father. So this is something that's very serious.
Malcolm, your line.